Going inside Memorial Sports, this is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We're going to stay with the softball theme for the second segment in a row. We're talking to the Memorial Panthers, who a little bit different situation than Monterey. I just said this to Brian Cronk on his way out. Hopefully I can get rid of that frog. Roxy, I want to make sure we say this right. You need to win 2 games.
Yes, sir.
So Tuesday night you play Estacado, which has had a rough season. You don't want to disrespect them, but that's a game you feel like you should win. That sets up something pretty big for your girls on Friday for a young team in its first season. I'm going to let you kind of explain what it is, but tell folks who you brought with you.
So we have Zeriah Pena. She's our third baseman. She's a freshman. And then Mercedez Rodriguez is our second baseman, and she's a sophomore for us. And
Mercedes got a little bit of experience in the playoffs already from volleyball, so that never hurts in the first year to have a little bit of that to take with you.
Yeah, no, having her have that playoff experience from volleyball and going the 2 rounds, I think it helps. It helps us kind of keep our cool a little bit more than if we just had, straight sophomores, kind of like they did in volleyball. I mean, they had no one with playoff experience. Thankfully, we do. So I'm really hoping that kind of evens us out a little bit and kind of calms our nerves. But
to get there, though, you need to do what?
Yeah, so Friday is basically, it's a win and you're in, lose and you go home situation. So the good thing in my mind right now is, we're getting that playoff situation and that kind of playoff pressure before playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's not the situation we want to be in, but it's going to be a good situation for them to experience and hopefully give them that push to keep going into playoffs.
Mercedes, are you the only player from volleyball and basketball that's on the softball team?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, so you have to be the voice. You have to tell
sir.
girls what it was like. Now, Coach knows. Coach has been there a bunch in the playoffs, so she knows that everything tightens up just a little bit when you get there. It's funny you said that you're getting that experience, because I saw your game against Liberty, and that felt like a playoff game the way you guys had to play, and both teams just kept coming at each other. Maybe that was the start of this. You've stubbed your toe a couple times to get into this position. What have you seen in your girls? And let me switch that. I'm going to get the girls to talk about it. What have you guys seen about each other and seeing each other that makes you feel like you're ready for this week?
I feel like with the games we've played, we've definitely built more confidence from the start. I feel like we trust each other more, especially trust ourselves with the coaching we have and knowing how much hard work we've put in. And it's definitely going to pay off before we get to playoffs.
So just had a freshman sitting in that seat a minute ago from Monterey, and I'll ask you a similar question to her. It's one thing for Mercedes. She's been in the playoffs. The playoff thing's a little bit new to all of you, but for freshmen, middle school, you weren't playing for playoff spots. You were just playing to get to the end of the season and start summer ball. Does it feel a little bit different to be where you guys are right now?
I feel like it is a little different. I feel like I have to step up and, do better and not, kind of slack on it, because I know what's important now and, it's going to help my team. So I feel like it is really different from middle school to high school now, because it matters. It really does matter.
Not that in summer ball and travel ball that you teammates don't count on you to do stuff, but it's a little bit different when you have to go to school the next morning and see people in the hallway. You get the blue and blue on. They expect you to be doing things. Roxy, we've talked before about watching your girls evolve and pick up things like that. That was a very mature answer right there. How fun has that been for you as a coach? When we talked after the Liberty game, you talked about how you saw things that you hadn't seen before then. How cool has it been just each week, each practice, to see little things like that pop up?
It's awesome. These girls started playing together back in summer. I think July. I think we had our first kind of get together, and they had a summer ball game. And you can ask them, it was not the best game. It wasn't pretty. But seeing their growth from that summer scrimmage to now has been incredible. As coaches, we always say, we get to see them from freshman year to senior year. But with these girls, it's a little bit different. the experience level, you're truly growing it from the starting block. But they've done an amazing job. They've stepped up when they needed to, and I think we talked about it that day after Liberty. Their fight and their grit has just grown tremendously. If there's one thing that these girls do is they fight to the end.
Because that day it took some.
It took a lot of fight.
that may, you guys won, but that may have been Liberty's best game of the season.
Yes.
And it's been a tough season, but they fought and they made you take it from them, and that's something you like to see in young players. So we'll come back and talk more Memorial Panther softball after this break on 100.7 The Score.
This is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. This is the Panther Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. We're talking Memorial Panther softball. I want to call up the standings here real quick. 5-4A in softball. Snyder, Big Spring, and Level Lane have clinched spots. That leaves that one spot that's available. Right now, Lakeview's at 4-6, Memorial's at 3-7. Tomorrow night, Memorial plays at Estacado, which, as we mentioned, has had a rough season. They've only won one game. They're 0-2-10 in district, so that's a game that Memorial feels like they should go and win. Lakeview has to play Snyder, which we talked about this last week when Hannah Limmer was in. Snyder, for whatever reason, this time of year, they know what they're doing. They went to the state semifinals last year, so they are leading the district 10-0. I'm not sure that anybody's come all that close to them. That's who Lakeview has to play. So you can kind of do the math, figure out how those two games are supposed to play out. That leaves that last one when Lakeview has to make that long trip up to Lubbock. That makes it basically a winner-take-all. Like, how did you guys do against them the first time?
We lost, but we got walked off.
Okay.
Yeah, we got walked off on that
So
night.
there's not going to be that a tie doesn't matter. That's how that's going to play out. So
yes, sir.
it's cool that the first year's squad, Mercedes again went through this in volleyball where they were in a little bit better shape when they got to the end. The only team they'd lost to was Liberty. For you girls, do you feel I just talked to the Monterey girls who are in a different spot. They're tied for first, so they're going at things a little bit differently. But Mercedes, are you too young to feel the intensity and pressure of it, or does it feel a little bit different this week?
Not at all. It's definitely intense, especially when you've worked for something a whole season. You expect for us to come out and win a game that we know we should win. It's definitely different from the start of the season because we know what we're capable of, and we want to put that to work.
I remember talking to your soccer girls. Y'all don't like you don't like people saying you're just freshmen and sophomores. I don't blame you because you're varsity athletes. You get to wear the uniform, and you wear the uniform just like everybody else. I'm saying that, but you're a freshman. Same thing I ask her is, do you feel any different this week in terms of it being more intense or more pressure, or are you just going to go out and play softball like you always do?
I feel like there is a little more pressure, me being a freshman, because I have to have a standard because I know my standards, but I feel like I can play my own ball. Like, I can play my softball the way I know how to this week.
All your other girls' teams have made the playoffs, right?
Yes, sir.
So there's a little bit of pressure. I'll throw some out there for you a little bit. Because you don't want to be that one team that doesn't get to at least say, we got to put our uniforms on. Plus, you want to get to practice with Coach a few more times. That's the added benefit. What do you guys have to do this week, Roxy? We'll assume you take care of business against Estacado. What are the keys against Lakeview that you kind of feel like your girls are ready to take care of?
Well, before every game, we kind of talk about 3 keys of what we need to do for that game. And we had a team meeting today, actually, and we talked about it. And we said, hey, look, we're going to take this week one day at a time. We got to go one day at a time. We all know what Friday means, but we're going to work today, go take care of business Tuesday, and keep going from there. But 3 key things that we've talked about up until this point have been, we're going to fight to the very end, which, like I've said before, they do very well. Play simple softball, clean up some errors here and there, and fight for each other. That's the main thing that we have to know is at the end of the day, these girls are fighting for each other and fighting to play and practice another day.
It's going to sound weird, but you lost to Big Spring 3-0. But to me, that's not a bad segue into this week because it sounds like you pitched really well. Probably could have done a few more things offensively. Mercedes, what do you take away from that game that tells you some things you've got to make sure you do better this week?
Definitely that is a game that we could have won, and I feel like we kind of fell behind in a certain inning, and not giving up innings or errors can cause us a game. So I think that we honestly need to minimize errors, be smart on the bases, and hit the ball, see the ball, hit the ball, and just be smart on the bases.
Because Alex has pitched well at times.
Yes.
And that, I'm going to guess that was maybe high on her list. Her mom on Facebook, I saw her mention that she was so proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
And as teammates and coaches, you want to be proud of her. We're getting into the point of the season. You were around a lot of good pitchers at Friendship. How much do you want to see her take a step forward this week to get ready in case you guys do get to the playoffs?
You know, the thing about Alex is she's come to Friendship softball camp since she was itty-bitty. And she's always been a middle infielder, second baseman, so throwing her into the pitcher circle has been a big thing for us. But she's handled it well. Her mental game has been on point, and she's done well for us. I'm very, very proud of her. Very proud.
You guys have a lot to be proud of. I hope we can talk in a few weeks talking about you guys getting to the playoffs and making some noise. It's going to wrap us up in the Panther Fan Zone. We'll be back after this break in the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.